Hello everybody, Brett here for TopoRanger and welcome to another adventure. So today I had to get my car inspected. It's about a mile walk from where I get it inspected back to my house. And along the way there's this creek which has special meaning to me because this is a creek that I grew up next to and I spent a lot of time here as a little kid, as a teenager, exploring, swimming, creating little dams, chasing crawdaddies, all the fun wholesome activities that you do as a young kid and also as a teenager. So I thought, well, why don't you just go for a quick explore on the way home? And that's what we're going to do today. There's also some ruins right down here that I did not know of as a teenager, a little bit down the creek here. I did post some pictures of them on my Instagram feed a while back, maybe a couple months ago. We're going to go check those out. That's kind of like the main objective. But I wanted to just show you this creek from my childhood. The first thing I wanted to point out was the rock, right? So you come in right from here, from the neighborhood, which is right behind here, and we hit this nice limestone, right? And then look at this, the way it's sculpted, coming down here. This thing even has its own little river cave right there. See it there? And that is actually a cave. It's just very small. What makes this spot interesting to me, and this is not something I knew as a teenager, was that where we are here, York Valley's that way. These hills here go up onto the Chickies quartzite. This limestone is outcropping here, but it's only here for a limited space because right here, I believe, is the contact between the overlying Chickies quartzite and the limestone. Now, why do I think that? Because right here you can see this big chunk of rock here, right? You see how it's crisscrossed with all those enlarged joints and the fact that there's that little cave there. And then right here you have a sudden kind of bump up in elevation, maybe a foot or two. And you can clearly see that the rocks over here are going like this. And the limestone kind of meets this in a very irregular fashion. So to me that says this is a contact, and that would make sense because I know from looking at maps that the Chickies quartzite is there, but I did not know as a child or as a teenager that this limestone is here. Here's a view from about 10-15 feet back. The contact is right there. Quartzite, limestone. All right, there's the contact. All right, looks like we can get across here. So why don't we take the easy route and go see if we can find those ruins. So let's head downstream. Down this way. My friends and I used to come down here all the time as teenagers, exploring, building dams and stuff like that. One of the funny stories I have from that era is that one day we were down here. I don't think it was too far from where we just were. And this neighborhood over here used to be a huge field, a cornfield. And there was a farmer's house right there. And we were just kind of frolicking in the water. And the stream was real close to the field. And we're just there doing our thing. All of a sudden we hear this loud shotgun blast, right? And we were just like, whoa, what's that? About a second or two later, we heard this, like I can't really make the noise, but it's like pop, 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 pop. All these objects hitting the leaves all around us. And it was like raining, And I didn't know what was going on, but my friend was like, run. And I said, what's going on? What was that? And he's like, the farmer's out. He's got his gun. He's shooting us with rock salt. And I was like, what the rock? What? And we were all kind of scared. Now, for those of you who don't know, farmers use rock salt, which is just literally crystals of salt in a shotgun shell. A lot of times they use it to scare away birds and pests, groundhogs. It's not really used to really kill anything as much as it is just a scatter. And the farmer there, who was known to be, let's just say, gruff to all the local kids around that area, probably just saw us out there you know, goddamn kids on my land, and just fired a shot across the field. And then what we heard mainly was the sound of the rock salt hitting the leaves. This would have been during the summer probably. And we just ran like, Of course, you know, we told that tall tale for years after that. But that's one of the stories I have from down here. I think the ruins are right around here, but I'm not sure. So we're back down at stream level here, and we're just going to use this to get to the ruins instead of the other way. Another story I have from that era deals with my friend. We'll call him Mike. And he was an adventurous young guy who lived down the street from me. And one day he was down here by himself. And he was kind of, you know, going through the creeks and exploring, doing the same kind of stuff. I'm pretty sure he was up on the quartzite because he said he fell on a piece of rock that had thin blade-like partitions in it, right? And to me that sounds like the Chickies quartzite. It does not sound like the limestone. And that limestone outcrop, it only goes for maybe 100 feet downstream, and then it gets folded under again, and it's back to quartzite. So anyway, he's down here and he's running around, trips in the stream, right? Falls. As he's falling, he reaches out with his hand to stop his fall. His wrist, right there, his exposed wrist hits those partitions, hits those razor-like partitions, like knives almost, right? Really thin, very sharp. Full weight of his body, boom, comes down on his wrist, right? And here's a good example of these sharp partitions I was talking about. See these? I'm thinking this is definitely the quartzite now. You see these? Now these are kind of eroded, so they kind of pull out. See that? Look at that edge there. Look at that knife's edge right there. I mean, you could carve a stick with this thing. His wrist came down right like that, right on that partition. I mean, look at this stuff. It's really fissile and kind of shaly. But look at that. I mean, that could easily cut right through a tendon and all kinds of stuff with that. It's really kind of rotten here, but in other places it's not. And these things are extremely hard and stiff. So if you fell here, you could do it. Look at this one here. See that? I don't know if that's coming out, but I mean, if I went like that, I'd slice my finger open right now. So what do you think happens, right? He rolls down, you know, stunned, brushes himself off, you know, gets up, feels this horrible pain in his wrist, and he brings his hand up and he looks at his wrist, and he tries to, you know, move his hand, and he has no control over his fingers. His hand is basically just like limp. And what he did was he severed all of tendons in his wrist. I think there's 3 main tendons, and that quartzite, boom, and the weight, he probably weighed 150, 160 pounds. His body weight coming down hard on those thin knife-like partitions severed all of those tendons. So of course he's totally freaked out. He can't move his fingers, he can't contract his fingers. The blood is spurting everywhere because in addition to severing his tendons, he also cut into his veins on his wrist, so there was blood squirting out. He couldn't move his hand. He was totally freaked. He basically ran home. They went to the emergency room, and I'll never forget the description he gave me. Oh, there are the ruins right there. He told me what they did was they went with a long stainless steel surgical instrument with a little grabber at the end, and they stuck it under his skin. So they went in here with this long stainless steel rod, and according to him, they went the whole way up, almost to where his elbow crease is, and then they had to grab hold one ligament, pull it back, right? And they had to hold it there, stitch it up, did it again. They had to do that 3 times. And I remember him describing it and the pain, and this was a tough kid. This was a tough guy. I mean, he was constantly getting himself hurt bad. Broken legs, broken ankle, broken wrists. I mean, and for him to be freaked out by it, to me, meant that it was really bad. And he had a huge scar there for the rest of the time that I knew him. And it was a crazy story, but it happened right here on this creek. Let's try not to do what he did and trip and fall and hurt ourselves. And there they are right there. Now, the strange thing with these ruins is that it's not that far from where we used to hang out. But for the life of me, I cannot remember ever coming down or ever seeing these ruins. And I remember all kinds of little stuff from that period. And I've gone back and, you know, found stuff from that period too. But this damn thing, whatever it is, I never knew about it until the last time I was here exploring and I came across it. So you can see it's all jammed up. Let's go over there and I'm gonna take you to the top. Tell you what, the thorns don't give up in winter though. So we gotta be careful here. And what it is it's an old dam. So let's carefully go over here without falling so we can get a better view of this. There it is. There is a large aggregate platform right here. Then there's the dam, which is severely damaged over there. That whole side just boom. And then there's also aggregate topper on top of it. And then there's that little hole there. I guess that used to be some kind of release mechanism. Maybe they had a door on one side and they would raise it and lower it. There is an historic property not far from here. In fact, I think it might be one of the oldest, if not the oldest, stone house in York County. So we're talking 1700s now. And I think that this might be associated with that, although the aggregate stuff, I don't know, it kind of makes me think that it's more like the 40s or the 50s. And one of the cool features that I found along with the dam is this thing, which is like kind of like a well, but it's not actually underground. It's actually just on the side of the creek. It's about 6-7 feet deep. There's nothing down there except a log. It's nicely constructed, and there's that nice square, which I'm assuming it had a hatch on. So I'm wondering if perhaps this was some type of pump house, and one of the reasons they had this dam here was to create a water source. Oh my god, and it is just thorn alley here. Ow. Okay, so we're down at stream level here, and here's the exterior of that kind of stone well, which again is not really a well because it's not underground, but there is this terracotta pipe coming out of the bottom of it, right? You can see right in there. So to me, that says something to do with water. One of the reasons I think this might have been a well or a water source right here, not necessarily this, but this part, is because right at the bottom of this sucker, you'll see there is this concrete platform. But underneath here, you see that. That's bedrock. Okay? You see that right there? This stuff right here? That's bedrock. Now, I don't know what that is, other than maybe quartzite. And underneath this ledge here, you'll see there's water coming right out of the bedrock. Right there, right there, right there. Also right here. So from there to there is water coming right out of what I think is the bedrock. So that makes me believe that this circular structure here was a way for them to capture, contain, and then maybe they had a pump in there, like I said, to pump up the spring water, because that's definitely a spring. And maybe they used this as their drinking water, and then they ponded this up as water to use on the fields. Was this all built at the same time? I don't know. This wall and the dam and the circular stone well thingy, they all look like they were built at the same time. There's the square hole in the dam. And you can see this part of the dam is pretty much just came this way. All kinds of ice here. Let's be careful. All right, so that's the hatch that looks up, and there's not really much of a pond left, but there is this little magic hatch. So right here we have a huge chunk of the dam that fell off, and part of that chunk is what it looks like to me to be that white Chickies quartzite right there. So maybe we are on a quartzite. Some hardware embedded in a piece of the aggregate. And look at this, the dam here just completely failed. All right, and there's all kinds of crud backing up there. Let's do a panorama. There you go, that's it. Let me know what you guys think this is in the comments. And that wall there was maybe constructed as like an anchor to anchor the whole dam off of, so the dam had structural integrity. But I don't know why that slab would be there. That's what's kind of making me wonder, like, what is going on here? Let's put the camera under there first, though. All right, here we go. What do you got under there? You see anything? Oh, look, there's a hole over there. Let's go back right there where it's darkest. Lots of space. So just a real quick explore today. Just wanted to share this location with you and a couple interesting stories from Team TopoRanger days, right? This place is really nice in the summer. You come down here, you know, because look at the patina on this wall. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Giant cracks. If you had a good time, make sure you hit subscribe, ring my bell, follow me on all the platforms, share me on all the socials, please. That helps my channel grow, all right? This is Brett for TopoRanger, and I'll see you in the next episode.